Okay, it's time to get political with epoxy resin. That's right. I am making what's called Craftivism projects here. And what you see me doing is demolding my little tiny New Jersey in green. This green was mixed also with the Let's Resin neon green UV or black light reactive powder. During these first couple of tests, I actually had no idea what I planned to do, only that I thought the state of New Jersey resin mold was really cute and I wanted it. So I just started playing around and testing it before figuring out that these would make excellent lapel pins or hat pins in order to wear to protests or just out and about. This is about 3 inches in length and it's a decent sized thickness. So what I did was I put a little bit of water in it and then measured that water out, and it came to about a 1/2 ounce of liquid. So with the parts A and parts B, it was a little tricky because my scale doesn't go that far over. So I had to do 0.2 or 0.3 of each. So if I ended up with extra, I used it to make little skulls and gems and things like that, which is always something that people working with resin generally do. You just make sure you have a little extra mold around. Unfortunately, this one that I'm speeding up through here didn't come out the way that I had hoped, so it became a test piece. In this next one, I actually think the design came out really cool. I started with a base of clear. There were very few bubbles. It wasn't something that I had to actually worry about, and I didn't use my debubbler at all. I tried and realized that with these tiny cups, it starts to melt and collapse. So I gave up on that very quickly. So I poured the clear in, wait a few minutes, and then used some red alcohol ink. And this you just drop in like so, and you can choose to then wait a few more minutes and add another color or add some sinking white or do whatever process you actually have tested out and like to do. So what I was trying to do was use a sharp end of a stick of some sort. Silicone sticks work the best because they're the easiest to clean, but if you've got wood like I do, then it's fine. And I drag the pointy end through the red into the clear and make some designs. I was hoping they would look like long, sad hearts, in this case, bleeding type hearts. And it didn't really come out that way, but the design still looked really cool. This is another unfortunate fail. I'm just calling it a flaw. As I was working on one of the green pieces, I put down the piece that I had just demolded, the clear with the lovely red alcohol ink, and there was powder on my silicone mat. So of course, when I put down a finished piece, it picked up that powder and it's gotten on top of that. So it's just a design feature, okay? Here's another clear with red alcohol ink version, and you can see that I just did take a little long neck lighter over it, trying to get some of the bubbles out. and then added the alcohol ink. Again, you just wait till it thickens for a couple of minutes, and then you can try and go on and do some other designs. Moving on to the second green one that I did, it's mica powder. It's not the glow-in-the-dark or blacklight reactive powder at all. It's the mica powder that comes with a Let's Resin kit. And you can see, I'll hold it up in just a second, there's the UV reactive one. So you can see there's a slightly different shade of green, and how that one came out really with no bubbles. For some reason, this one with the mica powder did come out with bubbles. Fortunately, those bubbles are on the back side, and they are not a problem because when I go to attach the actual pin hardware, I sand down a little bit of that anyway. But again, it's the back. This happens to be an opaque style of pigment, so it's not even visible. To show another test that I did, I mixed up two colors, so I had them in these little containers, and it is very hard to do when you're working at this small of a scale. I had a type of like almost graphite charcoal color, if you will, and some red. These are just the mica pigments again that came with the Let's Resin kit. So I tried to do some stripes and then thought about swirling them a little bit through each other. It just didn't work very well. It kind of actually reminded me of like a Freddy Krueger sweater, even though I think that's green and red, but it just didn't work perfectly. So I ended up using it as a test piece again for some other things. I didn't record how I colored this next one. I used some pink alcohol ink at the top, some blue alcohol ink at the bottom, and then I did add sinking white. And what that does is it gives weight to the color that is underneath it and makes it push down to the other side. So there you can see that it's very three-dimensional inside the clear part of the resin. And it looks like what some people call the Petri effect, or like a Petri dish effect. And here's where I did another type of comparison experiment. I used the blue mica powder that came with the Let's Resin kit, and then I tried a similar piece with the blue mica and added some blue alcohol ink to it to see if it would make much of a difference. And this is the one right here with the alcohol ink. The previous one had only the powder. And you can see that it really doesn't make much of a difference. I also didn't like the way it came together, and that again is a problem with that particular mica powder. It didn't blend very well. So now I'm starting to use the pigment paste. These are Baltic Day brand that I bought off Amazon. I'm not terribly impressed. I do like that there are a lot of colors and shades, but the bottles are very tiny and it's hard to get out the paste and actually mix it. I found that even using a silicone stick, it stuck to the stick instead of actually mixing with the resin. So that kind of annoyed me a bit. And then a couple of the colors were very similar, just like way too similar to even count as separate colors. And then there are two different whites, and those bottles were only about halfway filled. I will say, I don't think any of the bottles were fully filled. So I think it's okay as a kit to test with and play around, get to know what pigment pastes are like, but it's definitely not as good as if you were buying one of the squeeze bottles. I think those would be better, but I've never tried those. Okay, this is my first casting with the pigment paste. Usually I use mica or alcohol inks. And this was called Royal Blue. It's the Baltic, what do they call Baltic Day. So, I wasn't thrilled with the names of their colors, but you know, that's not what's important. What's important is how the colors come up. So if I hold this in the sun, you can see that it's blue. Otherwise it just looks blackish, maybe an indigo. I definitely don't call that royal blue, but whatever. So it's not the blue like I mean there is one that's kind of closer to this. There's 4 or 5 shades of blue. So still getting little bubble type things, and I don't know how, because this mold looks immaculate, so I don't know where these pits are coming from. And this piece right here is where I used the pigment paste, but one of the different shades of blue. There were, I think, 4 different types of blue in this packet, and it definitely has a better, smoother consistency than the mica powder that came with the Let's Resin Parts A and Parts B. And here's a royal blue compared to the other shade of blue, I forget the name. And you can see how they're both very smooth as far as consistent coloring throughout them, but I still had some strange bubble things with that darker blue, but the light blue came out fine. Here I tried a sky blue or baby blue, I don't know the exact names of the colors, and the palest pink and one of the whites from the Baltic Day set, and I did the blue and the white and then poured the pink, trying to get some sort of stripe going there like the trans flag. This isn't good. I'm trying to use the neon colors that work under a black light, and they're chunky. Tried the pink, the blue, and the white. All of them, when they get into the resin, are chunky. So I'm wondering if the only way to use these is by dusting the mold. However, I did that with the green frog and it still didn't look very smooth. So I don't know what it is about the glow-in-the-dark pigments, at least the powdered form. I don't know. It took many layers of paint, and I did all of these by hand to get the text on the pieces, and I wanted to preserve that by giving them a top coat, and you will see that that did not work at all. Generally, when you're using clear resin to top coat something, your biggest concern is whether it will spill over the sides, and sometimes you have to come up with clever solutions to that, like putting adhesive tape or some sort of barrier like hot glue around a piece. But for whatever reason, since I was trying to actually top coat in order to make sure that that acrylic paint wasn't going to be washed off or scratched or anything, no, of course it would not work. And it kept pulling back towards the center, away from the edges. It was doing the exact opposite of every other top coat I have tried to do. I thought about switching to UV resin, but I really hate UV resin. I find that it's just so sticky to work with. and you're lucky if it cures correctly. So I took the 2 pieces that I didn't like as much and used those for my test pieces. I'm so glad I did, because then the other pieces I didn't even do a top coat for. If anybody purchases these and they find that they really need to top coat them, I will suggest trying clear nail polish. I think that's the best bet to use here. I used Aleene's tacky glue to adhere the pin backs to these resin states of New Jersey. And if you can, please subscribe. If you like my content, which includes so much cat stuff, you can go to patreon.com/amberunmasked. I put out weekly cat stories, and there are usually loads of pictures of different kinds of animals. So stay tuned. Thank you so much.